All right, guys, welcome to another exciting episode of the Left Side View. So, Amitabh, what are we going to talk about today?
Hi guys, we'll start off with a review of the weekend matches. So let's start with our favorite league, at least my favorite league, the English Premier League. Six of the 10 matches that were scheduled for this weekend, they had to be postponed due to COVID scares. The EPL authorities had a meeting today to decide the future course of action. And for now, it has been decided that the festive fixtures will go on with as much restrictions or as much care as possible. On Monday, there was just one match, and we have been talking about it for a couple of games now. And Bielsa seems to have lost the plot. They lost 1-4 against Arsenal. The goal they scored was a penalty, and Arsenal missed a lot of chances. So how close do you think Rahul Bielsa is to getting the sack?
I think he's very close, but at the same time, Bielsa has that star power, that value, in terms of getting results and creating, building teams. It's not just about, getting results, but for him, it's always about a philosophy. What I've read, what I've heard everywhere is that with Leeds United, it's not just about the first team, but even the players that they're signing now, the academy, everyone is playing the Bielsa way. So that which is obviously going to help them in the long run as well. Instead of let's just spending a lot of money, which obviously they can't, uh, they are just going to promote from within. And since we're talking about Bielsa, since we're talking about Leeds United, which is it's something that they did in the summer as well. They signed the Chelsea midfielder Lewis Bate, an academy prospect. Even though he hasn't really made much of an appearance for Leeds first team, but I think he was on the bench against Arsenal, so he's also on the verge of breaking through at Leeds United. And again, uh, we already know how Chelsea's academy works. Players who are taught to just play well, and they're told on the very first day that it doesn't matter if you ever play for Chelsea or not. But what we can guarantee you is that you will become a good player. And that's the philosophy, I guess, that even Bielsa and Leeds are also trying to follow now, wherein it's not just about the first team, but every player that walks through that club. But yes,
Yeah,
we have to
so
go ahead.
I think 2 points that work in his favor right now is they are not really in a relegation fight right now. There is some difference between them and the clubs at the bottom three. And secondly, I mean, how many coaches are there right now available? And I mean, one more very important point is he is a god at Leeds. I mean, the supporters backing is definitely with him, and with the January window looming large, I think they'll give him at least 3-4 games more just to try and reverse the fortune. I mean, he has been playing some top teams recently, so I don't think at the start of the season, how many points did they account for while playing City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal? So yeah, these results were not good. I mean, Liverpool they play on Boxing Day, so these results were not good, at least for the Leeds. But yeah, they'll try and persist with Bielsa for a little longer. But yes, the thoughts have already been in. On the other hand, now Arsenal firmly in the top four. They have cushion 4 points cushion ahead of West Ham right now at fifth. So well done to them. Let's see how Arteta takes the team into the new year. Yeah.
So I do have two things to add here. One, I think I'll go back to Leeds, something that we didn't really talk about before.
Mhm.
The 2 points that you mentioned, obviously, who's out there, but then there's one key point that we've actually missed a lot: the injuries aspect.
Yes.
Leeds have so many injuries, and they've had so many injuries throughout the season. I think even Calvin Phillips is out. Patrick Bamford, he's been out for so long. So obviously, you have to take into consideration that I'm not saying that that's like the results are good enough, but at the same time, maybe the owner will wait to see if either signings are made in January or uh, the owner will wait for these players to come back and then see if the results do not improve. Because if the players are back and then the results will improve, then you can just say that it was because of injuries that the results were not going their way. Now let's talk about Arsenal. Yes, so Arsenal, they only have, Lacazette. They've already alienated Aubameyang, but still, the Arsenal juggernaut, I think, just keeps on rolling. And the signings that they've actually made, people made so much fun of Arsenal, for spending so much money, for spending 30 million pounds on a player that has been a goalkeeper that has been relegated twice. But I think Aaron Ramsdale has just grabbed this opportunity with both hands. He has usurped Bernd Leno. I don't see Bernd Leno anywhere getting close to the first team picture now. Even Ben White, people were like, why are you spending 50 million pounds on Ben White when Manchester United signed a four-time or a five-time Champions League winner Rafael Varane for 41 million pounds? And then on top of that, their Japanese right back, Tomoyasu, who has been such a revelation. I think even Ian Wright was questioning a journalist that I don't really remember the name of the journalist, but he asked an XYZ journalist to apologize because this said journalist uh, made this prediction that we don't really know what his best position is. Is he a right back? Is he a wing back? Is he a center back? And now, with the form that he has shown, uh, Ian Wright said that this particular journalist should apologize to Tomoyasu. So yes, that's three signings. Who else? I think even Martin Odegaard signed on loan. Even I think even last season he didn't really perform as much, as you would expect, or you would say that he didn't really perform so well that you would try to sign him on a permanent deal. But I think he has again done a great job, become a regular. Even Martinelli now, been 2 years. Uh, I think he has scored as many goals in the last 2 3 matches that he scored in the last 2 years since he signed. So even Martinelli, I mean,
Yeah.
just imagine Martinelli's keeping out Emil Smith Rowe out of the team. Emil Smith Rowe, who has been coming on for the past 2 matches and scoring goals, but still can't start over Martinelli right now. Bukayo Saka, and on top of that, they have such a young squad. I know I
Yes.
sound like an Arsenal fan right now. I'm not, guys.
No, but these are just facts. Still, I mean, there has been a lot of planning and a lot of astute decision making that has gone behind this. And results like these, they don't come overnight or just by sheer luck. So they are reaping the benefits of all the correct decisions they have made. And when Arteta was there, his responsibility not only included getting in the right players, but also to ship out some of the older players. So he's done well. We've spent a lot of time on Leeds versus Arsenal. Let's move on. So on Sunday, Manchester City went to St. James's Park. 4-1 was the result. And the first goal was a gift. I saw the highlights of the match. I was watching the Chelsea match. So I don't know what is there to discuss. It was a pretty straightforward win, and Cancelo scored a beauty.
Oh yeah.
And it was a pretty run of the mill match
I
with
mean,
what we expected. Yeah,
even Tuchel said in the post-match conference he didn't know what had happened. So he asked someone what happened
yeah.
in the result, and he said City win, and he was
Okay,
like, "That was predictable."
okay, yeah, yeah. So yeah, they are top of the league and now and 3 points against Liverpool.
Yeah, so they're
So the
even 6 points ahead right now at this
ahead of
stage
us. Yeah.
than last season. Last season they won
Okay,
comfortably.
okay. So yeah, they put on this run 17, 18 matches
Yeah,
winning streak last season. So once you get that kind of a streak going, so it is difficult to be toppled off the top. The second match, obviously Wolves versus Chelsea. Happy with the second half and not happy with the result, of course. We are still missing some sitters. The passing, the shooting, the accuracy in the final third, it still leaves so much to be desired. But the team showed a great heart. Kovacic back from injury. As Tuchel said in his press conference, he was only advised 45 minutes for Trante. He played the whole match. Saul played in the second half. I don't really know what he provided to the team, but at least he did not commit any huge mistakes. So well done to him as well. And Yeah, it was just one of those matches. Wolves played for well in the first half. They could have taken the lead, but similarly, we could have taken the lead as well. Um, yeah, one of those matches, and as our coach said, he was not really interested in a point because there were so many things, going on in the background. I mean, the Premier League adjudicated that Kante and Kovacic are, eligible members to play for the team, and they were back of such massive injuries. So yeah, a lot of things were going on. The only thing I can be happy about all this that is going on right now is that maybe the fixture congestion will not be as severe for us as for the other teams, but we are dropping points left, right, and center. And I mean, just imagine if the entire defense of a particular team is COVID positive. Do you still say that you put up a makeshift defense? And will that competition be like, will it be fair against that team? That is exactly what has happened to us. Our forward line, firing, misfiring, wrong form, bad form, I don't care. But our top three players who play in the central position, center forward position, Lukaku, Werner, and Havertz, all three are injured, and I mean, all three have post COVID, and still we have to somehow, made do with the squad. So, again, the sports authorities of all the sports, I don't think a lot of logic is ever there behind the decision. It is the broadcasters and the sponsors who call the shots. But it is what it is. Draw against Wolves at Molineux.
Exactly.
Rahul?
First of all, even though obviously when you take into consideration that we dropped points, it's not a good thing. But 1 point away to Wolves is actually not a bad point. Having said that, obviously, I think City or Liverpool won't drop points. Uh, but then I'm a little confused. I mean, Chelsea wanted this match to be postponed, but then today, when all the Premier League clubs had this meeting about whether to postpone a particular round of fixtures or not, everyone wanted the fixtures to continue. So it's not really something that I understand. That you, on one side, you want uh, a match to be postponed, and then on the other, you don't want one whole round of fixtures to be postponed. I'm not really sure, like what I don't really understand the rationale or the logic behind it. But yeah, we can talk maybe again a topic for a different day. We can probably move to the next match.
Yeah, I mean, just one last point. Again, and it is valid for the next match as well, Tottenham against Liverpool. If Tottenham team, the area, the locality has so many COVID cases, and you play in front of almost a full house, I mean, how do you justify the risk that you are taking? I mean, it was a great match, perfect winter time match
Mm.
from the UK. But then, what I mean, are you sure that everybody who was in the stadium yesterday night, all of them are COVID negative? And if you cannot guarantee that, how can you take that risk? Why should you take that risk? Yeah, but this is the times we live in. So sticking to the things we know, that is football. Uh, Tottenham, the question on everybody's mind was that whether they will be a little rusty or whether they'll be like raring to grow. And unfortunately for Liverpool, it was the latter. And Tottenham missed some sitters. They should have been at least two,
Oh
three
man,
goals by first half. The Dele Alli miss, the Kane miss,
Son.
and even Son
Yeah,
missed.
yeah.
Yeah, so
The match actually started
apart
with
from
Son's miss.
yeah, actually. So yeah, and actually, if you remember, I predicted around 15 minutes into the match that Liverpool will have a red card. So yeah, I'll
Yes, you
pat
did,
myself on
guys.
the
You did.
back
Yeah.
for that. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, both the teams will be happy with a point. But as we all know, Klopp was not very happy with Paul Tierney, the referee, and the decisions that he made. Yesterday, I told you that the Harry Kane red card was not so obvious. But now that I have looked at the replays, 8 out of 10 times Harry Kane goes. 8 out of 10. But for Robertson, 10 out of 10 times he goes. So That is that Alisson made some fantastic saves, but then his error also cost Liverpool the 3 points. So it was a great match, great environment, great energy. But yeah, I think Conte will not. I mean, both are okay with 1 point, but sorry, both the teams will be a little aggrieved that they did not get all three.
I mean, I think both the teams are still missing a few players. I think so. There's another shout out. I think Ryan Sessegnon. I didn't even know he was still playing for Tottenham. And
Yeah,
when I saw that Ben Davis is the left centre back, which means that usually their left wing back is Sergio Reguilon. He wasn't there. It was actually Ryan Sessegnon, and he actually kept Mohamed Salah quiet for most of the game. And then on top of that, I
yes,
saw that Liverpool was starting with Tyler Morgan, an academy player. So yes, both the teams were missing players, but on top of that, I think their most influential midfielder for Tottenham, I think a player I don't even think he has actually missed any games for them since he signed for them. Hoiberg, I don't think he's ever missed a Premier League game for Tottenham since he signed for Tottenham under Mourinho. So he was
yeah,
missing.
he was missing.
Yeah,
But then Skip played well yesterday.
Skip came on and he played well. Yeah, it was Wings who
Yeah,
started alongside Dele Ali and Ndombele. But yes, I think the fact that I mean that's the thing. Uh, if this was any other team, the reason why uh, again maybe a huge discussion I think, but the reason why Mourinho has fallen behind with the times is because when he used to be the best coach in the world in the early 2000s, uh, people used to do these tactics of setting up deep against his teams. But ever since all these new coaches, new generation of coaches has come in, coaches, like Guardiola, especially all the German coaches, like Guardiola, sorry, I mean Guardiola is Spanish, but Guardiola, all these gegenpressing coaches, Nagelsmann, people who make their teams just run, run, and run. And it's something that is not a game of Mourinho's teams, especially since it is another reason why ever since all these coaches come in, whenever he plays against any of these teams, he sets his teams up the way all these earlier teams used to set their teams up against his teams. So now he has become that guy who will set up his teams defensively against a Klopp's team or a Nagelsmann's team. Whereas the reason why I have a lot more respect for Conte is he doesn't care who he's playing against. He will go toe to toe with you. That's what we saw with Tottenham. Had this been Mourinho, they would have lost last night.
yeah.
Maybe he needs to go
And
to Germany, Mourinho,
yeah,
or have a
and
German assistant.
one important point that Conte kind of wanted to take advantage of was the high line that Liverpool have. So they wanted to have that split pass where Kane and Son with their pace could go through the defense. And this is a tactic that has been used against Liverpool over the past few years in order to derail them because once they are on Son, it is difficult to match with them on attack in terms of attack. But they do have that soft spot in the defense. So if you can find that defense split in pass and have someone with pace to run between the channels, yeah, you can actually dominate them. So he made sure that his Tottenham team was prepared with that. Anything else on this match?
Did we talk about? I mean, yeah. So no, but then again, you have to take into consideration that had actually Harry Kane been sent off, maybe that actually
Yeah,
played
I
a. So
mean,
people are saying that maybe he was not sent off. Like these are so the conspiracy theorists saying that he was not sent off because he's the England captain and Robertson was sent off because he's Scottish.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, not Robertson was sent off because it was a terrible foul. No, no, let's not be have any doubts there. But yeah, this could have been in Harry Kane's favor because being the England captain, the Mr. Good guy. So yeah, see, referees are also humans, and all these factors do come into play in their decision making. Someone with with a reputation of diving, the referees will be a little more circumspect in giving penalties. But there are players who don't have that reputation. Again, the reputation is also created by the media.
Mhm.
So yeah, all these things are managed, but it is what it is, and that was 2-2 for the most entertaining match, at least for me, in the
Yes,
weekend.
it was.
Yeah, moving on to the Bundesliga. On Friday, Bayern defeated Wolfsburg 4-0, and Lewandowski broke the Gerd Muller's record of maximum goals in a calendar year. Congratulations to them. And on Saturday, Dortmund lost. Their form on road this season has been abysmal, and the defense in this game actually was shocking. They lost 3-2 against Hertha Berlin. So, do you think we should just give the cup to Bayern right now?
Yeah, I think no one would say anything. I mean, but
Yeah,
again,
I
we
mean,
have to just talk about. I know, like, again, it's not an excuse. They still had a good enough squad, Dortmund, to win the match. But yes, we have to talk about injuries that they have. I think they've still got like. I don't even think Giovanni Reina has played 2 or 3 games till now. So a lot of their players they're missing. Even Haaland, luckily, uh, came back sooner than expected. But again, he's not going to be able to do everything all the time. But yes, they it's like we predicted that when they go away from home, there is always that slight vulnerability that they carry, and yeah, that's the reason why it's like you can it's okay when you do that, when you're not competing with someone like Bayern, but when you are competing with someone like Bayern Munich who are just ruthless, even a single point or even 2 points dropped make a huge difference. I mean, just imagine when they were playing Bayern Munich at home at their stadium, they were only 1 point behind Bayern Munich. Had they actually managed to beat Bayern Munich, they would have overtaken them. But since then, the gap has just been increasing, and I don't
yeah,
think that it will uh, ever stop. The gap will just keep on increasing, in my opinion.
yeah. Even if any club has any good players, then Bayern will buy them. So,
Yeah.
yeah. On Sunday, Freiburg defeated Leverkusen 2-1. Freiburg now are actually third in the Bundesliga table, 1 point behind Dortmund. And yeah,
Well, yes, we do have to mention, Bayern Munich. They're like these dark horses. They just keep rising the table without anyone noticing. But guys, we notice. So yes, they're doing a great job under their manager. Um, let's see if they can actually sustain this form. But obviously, now that Bundesliga is on a break, you never know. Maybe for some teams, it's a good thing that they just keep on playing and break maybe will halter their momentum. So let's see how they respond once they come back from the winter break. Um, we can probably just mention the Leipzig result. I think this is their third game under the new manager Dominic Tedesco, uh, but
yes.
they've only managed to win their first game when they beat Borussia Mönchengladbach 4-1. But ever since then, they dropped points away from home, and now like at least under Jesse Marsh, they were playing well at home, but now they even lost at home against Armenia Bielefeld. And the fact that they were down 1 goal, uh, they were hoping to come back and maybe score an equalizer, but Armenia Bielefeld's player was sent off down to 10 men, and still instead of scoring an equalizer, Leipzig conceded a second goal. So
Yeah.
not a good picture. I'm not even sure. In fact, now like that's the question. Like if they play the same way or even worse than they were under Jesse Marsh, are they going to sack another manager? What's going to happen? Who's going to come in?
Yeah, we'll wait for that after the Christmas break.
Yeah, so many questions. But yeah, maybe again, this will give time. This will give the new manager some time to work on the training pitch. Let's see.
Yes, yes. Moving on to the Serie A. On Friday, Lazio defeated Genoa 3-1, and Inter Milan defeated Salernitana 5-0. Inter have really consolidated their place on the top of the league. Good win for Sari and Lazio against Shevchenko. And I think Shevchenko's next opponents midweek are Atlanta.
Yeah.
Oh my God, good luck to him.
Seriously, what a bad luck. We just keep talking about, Genoa and Shevchenko, that the hard games just keep coming for them. I mean, they've already lost to Roma, now Lazio, they've already lost to Juventus, they've already lost to Milan. So they just keep playing the big teams and they just keep losing. I mean, I don't know. I don't really think that it's a valid picture of Shevchenko as a coach. I think he did such a great job. I would actually use the word great with Ukraine. The job that he did with the Ukraine national team, but the way I don't know because obviously I don't want him to be sacked basis these results. If he plays teams, in the bottom half of the table, and then the results are the same or they don't improve, then maybe yes, you can say that it's Shevchenko who's the problem. But right now, I just hope that he stays and is not sacked because of the results against these big teams.
Yeah, yeah. On Saturday, Atlanta. I've read somewhere they out of the 37 points they have, I think they have just 12 points at home and the rest on the road. So they've really struggled at home, and they again lost 4-1 against Mourinho's Roma. Tammy Abraham scored a brace, the first one within 55 seconds. And yeah, I mean, I thought after the Muriel's deflected strike, there would be some sort of a fight back. The second goal was disallowed for offside.
Mhm.
And yeah, Roma had around 29% possession, typical Mourinho team's performance, and they somehow managed to win.
Well, the performances these days for Mourinho's teams are the same. It's actually the results that are usually not so positive. So, I mean, obviously, this was an exception. This was actually the first time Roma under Mourinho have actually managed to beat a big team. They lost 3-0 at home to Inter. They lost 2-3 to AC Milan. They drew against Napoli. They lost 1-0 away to Juventus as well when he did his famous gesture of, sorry, this was a gesture. I was doing this. But yeah. So
Yeah,
I think another, uh, I was actually very surprised, to be honest, in a positive way that Roma, I didn't even know that Roma had this performance in them. And I'm pleasantly surprised. But yes, like you said, Atlanta, even in the Champions League final group stage match against Villarreal, they lost at home. So yes, the way they set up maybe away from home, it's just something that suits them. But at home, when they actually have to attack, or maybe when other teams sit deep, it doesn't really work for them. But yeah, or maybe it's just the way it works with them always. Whenever they're so close to the finished part, that's when they falter. Once they actually start chasing, there's a huge gap. Then they will again get informed. But now, when they actually could have consolidated the second spot, they faltered.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunate for Atlanta. The other match on Saturday was Juventus beating Bologna. Quadrado scored a stunner again, and Morata scored the first goal. It was a pretty straightforward win for Juventus. And the next match was Udinese defeating Cagliari 4-0. Anything to say about these matches?
I didn't see the footage of the
You didn't
Cagliari
see.
match. No. But yes, the
Okay.
Juventus match, obviously, they are in dire need of points. So at least for these 90 minutes, they were able to keep everything together and scrape a win. So kudos to them. But yes, it's like, with Juventus, so much has gone wrong for them that if they're just 90 minutes away from another crisis. If they lose the next match, then again, people will ask a starting question. They've reached that stage that even one bad result and people are going to bombard you with questions.
Yeah, okay. Just for our Udinese fans, I did watch the match, and Delafeu scored two wonderful free kicks. So you shout out to them. On Sunday, the match of the day was definitely Milan versus Napoli, which Napoli seemed to edge out 1-0. Another match of notable consequence was a 2-2 draw between Fiorentina and Sassuolo. So let's start off with the Milan-Napoli match.
Well,
There was a controversy at the end of this match regarding an offside, and I think they said that it was Italian referee's version of Paul Tierney and whatever. So they said if Giroud laying on his back is offside, then how come Muriel's goal stood the day before this match? And so, what do you have to say about that and the match in total?
well, like you said, if I think Muriel's goal was chalked off, right? It didn't really count. That's the second goal that Atlanta scored, but because Muriel was offside, they
Mhm.
chalked that goal off. So obviously, if that same logic applies, then uh, maybe
Then, if a player is on the ground, is he really affecting the play, or if is he really, in the eyesight of the goalkeeper and all as the rule suggests? Yeah.
yes, I'm not denying that. I I think it should have been a goal. I don't think that the referee should have chalked that goal off. Um, Having said that, maybe now I do feel like I know that I've said this before that in Italy, uh, maybe older players can play, and they do have this longevity for their careers. But I think they do need a younger striker. I think Abramovich is 40, even Giroud is 35 now. So they at least need a striker who is in his 20s. I think uh, you can't, even if like no matter how fit you are, but you are 35 and 40, you can't depend on someone who's 35 or 40 at least, especially when you're chasing a title. If they're happy with maybe where they are, then it's okay. You can maybe depend on Giroud or Zlatan. Or, I mean, why sign Giroud first of all if he was always going to be on the bench? At least in that case, sign a younger striker like 20, 21 years old who can at least learn
Yeah.
from Zlatan and then eventually replace him. But Giroud is not going to replace him because, first of all, no one is going to be like Zlatan, that they're going to play till 40. Zlatan is an exception. Irrespective of how fit Giroud is, I don't really see him playing for Milan for maybe more than 2 or 3 years maximum. He will be 37
Maximum.
by then. If he plays by 37, even then he will be considered very fit.
Yeah, I totally understand. I mean, what you're trying to say is at least have that option.
Yes.
You play your experienced strikers, but the season is long. There are so many games to be played. So
Yeah.
in some matches, you would at least like to have that luxury of having
Yeah.
someone with pace, in order to adopt a
Yeah.
different tactic and strategy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like both the teams, were still without a lot of key players, a lot of injuries. I think Milan were without their first choice fullbacks. Fatu Bolatore was playing left back. Theo Hernandez missing. Davide Calabria missing. Florenzi playing. So they were missing a lot of key players. I think Rafael Leao was not there. Uh, Ante Rebic was not there, which is why Radek Krunic was starting on the left. Brahim Diaz, I think Brahim Diaz as well. I think there are question marks over him because he had, I think, COVID, and ever since he's come back from COVID, he's not the same player that he was. So, but again, I think the fact that still, in my opinion, Milan had enough uh, to win this game, especially when you take into account that they drew their last game. They were already 4 points behind Inter Milan, and with this loss, the fact that Inter Milan also managed to win, they are now, I think, 7 points behind Inter Milan. And then on top of that, even Napoli, who were still missing quite a few players, key players. I think Insigne was not there, Osimhen was not there, and on top of that, their talismanic defender Kalidou Koulibaly was still missing. Even the goal
Yeah.
scorer Almas, he scored out of the blue. I mean, Juan Jesus was there. He's playing as a centre back, and Malkeed was there. Giovanni Di Lorenzo, who's right back, was playing as a left back. There was no Mario Rui. I still think Milan. It was just about which team wanted it more in this match, and eventually that team was Napoli. Otherwise, uh, player by player, I think Milan had the better team.
Yeah, so we have one more round for the Italian league before Christmas break, and yeah, seems like an interesting second half of the season.
Yeah.
Moving on to the La Liga, Barcelona won against Elche 3-2. They did suffer a scare. Elche scored a couple of goals very quickly in the second half. And the other match, Sevilla against Atletico Madrid, Sevilla won 88th minute strike by Ocampos. And interestingly enough, Madrid could not defeat Cadiz. It was a goalless draw. And from what I hear, Hazard drew a lot of flack for his performance in that match. So let's start off with Barcelona. Lucky win, deserved win. What do you think?
I mean, yes, I think, like we said, that I expected Barcelona to win this game, even if it was just a 1 goal margin, and that's what happened. But yes, um, it's actually these games that will, really help their young players to get some experience. Even the winner was scored by Nico Gonzalez. All and again, even they are still without a lot of players who are injured. I think when you take into consideration that Sergio Aguero, who had to retire, now obviously they
Yeah.
cannot replace him till January. And that is even if they do sign a striker. If they don't sign a striker, then they will at least not be able to replace him till the end of the season. They signed someone like Danny Alves, who's again not eligible to play for them till before January. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that they are going to like a 38-year-old Danny Alves is going to make a whole lot of difference, but still, he will make up the numbers, right? I think Ansu Fati has been out as well. Pedri has been out as well. Again, all of these are young players, but then they do if they can actually sign a proper defender, then there is at least a team they're capable of challenging for the top four. But again, this was Elche. That's the reason why who were at least 14th in the table when before this match. So you would expect at least to Barcelona to beat Elche playing at the new camp, but they never
Okay.
made it easy for themselves.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. But yeah, at least Xavi will be happy with 3 points, and they've closed the gap on Atletico Madrid, who lost against Sevilla. Um, I think João Felix said something to the press after the match, and it was picked up by the press, and it kind of showed his discontentment towards Cholo Simeone and stuff like that. So maybe he's on his way out. Let's see. He seems to be a little disgruntled because Simeone wants him to do a lot of the defensive work, and at the end of the day, again, as you just now said, Sevilla wanted it a little more, and yeah, they got it. So they have closed the gap on Real Madrid, and let's see. As far as the Madrid match goes, I just think it's one of those things. They are, I mean, I'm not saying they're complacent, but yeah, it's okay. Even they have had their struggles, and against Cadiz, any match, if you don't lose and you have 6 point cushion on the top, so it's okay. One of those games, maybe.
I think
Yeah.
two things I can say about the Madrid versus Cadiz game. I think this is what they've taken 4 points from Real Madrid in 2 seasons at the Santiago Bernabeu. And the other thing, maybe they needed this wake up call. The fact that maybe they were getting
Yeah.
so much ahead. So now that they've had this wake up call, maybe they will, not drop any more points, at least against teams like Cadiz.
Yeah. Okay. Do you see Hazard going to any other club in January? Maybe Newcastle?
I do see him leaving Real Madrid. I don't think that it has worked out. It's just not
Okay.
working out. I don't even think that it's about the injuries anymore. I think first of all, he just needs to play, and I think he needs to drop a level or something. That maybe he needs to go out on loan at maybe go back to a club in France or in Belgium, just rediscover his love for the game. I think once he does that, then we will be able to. I'm not saying that we will see the Hazard of old, but at least this is not the real Hazard that we are seeing these days.
Yeah. And it pains us to
Sad.
say that.
Sorry.
I'm saying it pains us to say that
Yeah.
as,
Yeah.
as Chelsea fans. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. With that, I think we have covered all the leads. There was really no league match this weekend. They had the cup competition. So yeah, that's about it from us. Thank you so much, guys, for watching our podcast. Bye.
All right, guys. Thank you.